Are you planning on sending in some cards to get graded? Well, we're about to tell you 5 mistakes that card collectors make when they grade their cards. Happy hobby. I'm David Gonos, and if you're a sports card collector and you're working with a limited budget, that's what we do on this podcast, on this video series. This series, it's the Bad Moves series. It's mistakes people make. 25 mistakes broken down into 5 different categories. And this category today is all about mistakes people make when they're sending in cards to get graded. We also did one on 5 mistakes for new card collectors, 5 mistakes for comeback collectors. We're going to do 2 more videos on mistakes people make when they're selling cards on eBay, mistakes people make when they're buying cards on eBay. But today it's all about the grades, all about grading cards. Look, we love grading cards. I like getting cards graded. Sometimes they don't come back the grades I want, and sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes they're better than I thought they were going to be. But grading, you just have to remember, grading, you do it because you want to authenticate the card. You do it because you want to encapsulate the card. And you do it because you want to evaluate the card. Those 3 things help you by making sure it's authentic. Making sure it's authentic. Well, then you know you didn't buy a counterfeit fake card. Most of us probably don't come across that a lot, but say you came across a great deal on a Michael Jordan rookie card, just too good to pass up. Then you go to get graded and you find out you should have passed it up because it's a fake. That happens. That's a grand mistake that people make, but that's not one we're going to use in this because it's very uncommon, really. So that's why you authenticate. The second thing is, and when they authenticate, they're going to tell you if it's been trimmed. Say you buy a vintage card, they'll tell you if it's been trimmed or altered, and that's no good. You don't want that. Second thing is it encapsulates it. Now, whatever condition these cards are in, say I get a card back and it's a PSA 8, outside of me putting it in the sun or dunking it underwater or whatever else I can do to that slab, that card will pretty much stay a PSA 8 forever unless I crack it out and resubmit it. So it encapsulates it. That's a good thing. It also, the third thing I say, evaluates it. So in other words, when you send a card in to get graded, when they send that grade back to you, you tell anyone you're selling the card to, a third party has determined the grade on this card, and the comparison prices everywhere else on eBay, wherever, say that this grade of this card should sell for around this amount. So that's a good thing. You want to be able to evaluate that, especially if you have a family and you're going to sell your cards or you're going to give your cards to your family maybe when you die. They have those cards evaluated. They know what they should, or they can find out what they should get for those cards. So here's the 5 mistakes that card collectors make when they're getting cards graded. The first one, they don't understand that a pack fresh card does not mean it's a 10. So you might open up a pack, and just because you pulled that card out just so cleanly and human hands have never touched it, that doesn't mean it's a PSA 10 or a 10 at all. What it does mean is it's pack fresh. So the odds of it getting a better grade is better than if it's been knocked around for 6 years and you had it in a card holder or whatever. So the odds are better. Doesn't mean it's going to get a 10 though. It still has to be centered. The edges have to be perfect. The corners have to be perfect. The surface has to be perfect. So there's a lot of things that go into it being a gem mint card. Being pack fresh has really nothing to do with it being a gem mint card. But you'll hear it all the time. Man, it's pack fresh. It should have been 10. No, that's not how it works. That's the first mistake. The second mistake is paying a grading fee for a card to get graded that might cost more than if you just bought the slab outright. Now, this happens a lot more recently. Let's say with cards from the past couple of years, you pull a, let's say, C.J. Stroud base Prism rookie card. That's pretty awesome that you pulled a CJ Stroud rookie card. And then you're like, I'm getting this baby graded. So you send it in to get graded, and it comes back a PSA 9, and that's awesome, and everybody's happy. And then you realize, I spent $25 on that card to get graded, and I could have bought a PSA 9 outright for $30. Well, yeah, I guess I shouldn't have done that, because you're taking up a lot of time. You're paying for shipping. The time between when you sent it in and when you get it back, you could have sold that card 10 times over if you were trying to sell them, right? So just think about that. Before you send a card in for grading, can I just buy this card outright as a slab, already graded, for about the same price? Here's the deal. A lot of people say, yeah, but I want that chance of getting a 10, which I'm cool with that. I don't have a problem with that. And there's also something to be said about a card you pulled. Maybe it's a card you pulled or you got in a break and you're like, I want this thing graded just because of that. It means something to me from that. Or somebody gave you the card. It means something to me. So go ahead and get it graded because of that. But just don't expect to get, just understand that you could buy a graded version for about the same price. And you're doing it more for nostalgic purposes and for that chance to possibly get a 10, which there's value in that. Maybe 1 out of 10 PSA 9s turns into a 10. Maybe, who knows what the percentages are on that. But just remember that the cost might be similar to just buying the graded card outright. That's why I'll just buy a slab. If I think, and even if it's a $30 slab, like, if I got a card, it's going to cost me $25 and $5 shipping. Like, what? Of course, I'd just rather have the slab and just get it over with. The third mistake card collectors make when they're trying to grade cards is they don't take advantage of the price breaks that many of these grading companies will give you. We're going to use PSA generally as our, that's who we're talking about. So PSA has price breaks. If you send in, if you're just going to send in 3 cards, they're going to charge you $25 a piece. If you send in 13 cards, they're going to charge you $25 a piece, and then you have to pay for shipping and all that good stuff. But if you send in 20 cards, then you get them for $20 a piece. And these prices might vary. Now, when you're watching this video, the pricing could be different by the time you're watching this video. But understand that the bulk pricing is going to be better. So why pay for the expensive grading or the expensive price than just wait a little bit until you get more cards and you can get to that 20 card threshold and get them for $20 a piece. And I figured it out before. It's something like if you are going to get 14 cards graded, 13 or 14 cards graded at $25 a piece, it costs this much. I forget what it was. But if you get 16 cards graded, let's see, how do I work that out? If you get 14 cards, if you get 20 cards graded, you save $5 per card, and that ends up being something like you got 4 cards for free, bumping it up from 15 or whatever it is to 20. I'm stepping over myself here, but just understand that there is a price break where if you just wait until you get more cards to grade, but again, you want to get cards that are worth grading and cards that are worth spending that $20 on to get graded, and then compile those up into a 20 card submission. That's going to be better off for you every time. Number 4, I almost said 3. Number 4 mistake that card collectors make. It's similar to number 3, talking about taking advantage of. Number 4 mistake is they don't take advantage of the shipping price breaks. Now, what does that mean? So when you do a submission, you send in all your cards, but you also are charged the shipping for the cards to come back to you. So usually, let's say it's SGC in this case. SGC, I think they have a 5 card threshold. If you're submitting 5 cards, then the shipping back to you, I think, is $15. that you have to pay along with your grading fees. Now, if you send in 6 cards, it bumps up to it's $25 for shipping back to you. So why on earth would I send in 6 cards with that added $10 in shipping? Either I just send in 5 cards, or you go up to that next threshold. I think it's 6 to 10, maybe it's 6 to 20 cards. That next threshold, you can take advantage of that, send in more cards, and now the shipping is more. It's still $25, but it's less than per card. It's less per card than if you did the 5 card one. So just think about that when you're sending in. Maybe you want to break it down like this. Instead of sending 2 cards in and it charges you $15 shipping, send 5 cards in, and then it still charges you just $15 shipping. Maybe that's the illustration I should have made there. The number 5 mistake card collectors make when they're getting their cards graded is they're thinking about flipping cards. They want to flip cards. They want to buy. What that means is they want to buy a card. Maybe they buy it off eBay or ComC or MySlabs.com or whatever. Actually, it wouldn't be MySlabs. It'd be these other places. You get the card, and then they want to turn it around, get it graded, and then get it back, and then sell it again. They're flipping it. So the problem is, the mistake people make is they send cards they want to flip to non-PSA grading companies. Now, SGC can be included in there if we're talking about vintage cards. So a non-PSA or a non-SGC grading company. The reason they'll do it is because they're like, oh, well, I'll get these cards back so fast. I'll get these graded cards back to me so fast. PSA is like 45 days out. But this company is going to send it back to me in 15, 20 days. So I'll get it back sooner so I can flip it. Here's the problem with that. When you go to sell it, people don't want that slab. People want PSA or they want SGC. So you're going to have to keep lowering the price until someone sees it and they say, you know what? I'll take that card, even though it's in that slab, at that price, because I want that card. And they might even be like, and then I'm going to crack it. Crack the card means cracking the slab. They'll pull the card out, and then they'll submit it to PSA. And maybe it's a $100 card in a PSA slab, but they bought it from you for $65 because it's in some other services slab. Then they take that $65 card and they send it to PSA, $20 for grading. When they get it back, it's now an $85 card that they put money into that they can sell it for $100 or more. So you have to be careful with thinking you're going to be flipping cards and then sending it to non-PSA grading services. So those are I know there's a million other mistakes. There's a lot of mistakes people can make with collecting and grading cards, whether it's they don't know how to grade them. They look at them, they see a better card than what it really is, or they expect to get a PSA 10 every time and they price things accordingly. So they'll buy a card that looks like a PSA 10 online, like a raw card that looks like a Gem Mint card, and it's not. And they expect to get a PSA 10 and flip it and make good money or whatever. So there's a lot of mistakes people can make. But those are my 5 specific ones I think that people make regularly that they should probably be careful with or cautious about. And that's what this series is certainly all about. But that's what our podcast is all about, is helping card collectors improve their card collection without blowing too much money. They want to improve it smartly, efficiently, safely, and that's what we try to do here. So if you haven't watched our other 2 videos, 5 mistakes for new card collectors or 5 mistakes for comeback collectors, really both of those videos help all collectors. You should check those out. And then we have 2 more videos coming up in this Bad Moves series. Card collectors who are selling cards on eBay, and 5 mistakes card collectors who are trying to buy cards on eBay, those mistakes that they make. So make sure you come back for those videos and listen. I hope you get great grades. PSA 10s all around. But whatever you do, even if you don't get the great grades, I hope you have a happy hobby.